Would you like to be somebody who understands what the Animus archetype is in women? Then listen to this entire video where I explain what the Animus is connected to, what it resembles, how it can manifest itself, or how an Animus possession can manifest itself in a woman. So before we get into it, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Let's get into it. So the Animus is a subset of somebody's unconscious mind, which is, in women it is called the Animus, and in men it is called the Anima. So in the Animus entails something connected to the intellect, authority, the masculine personality within a woman. So in a man has a feminine subset of his psyche, which is called the anima, feminine, and in women it is the animus, which is masculine. And in women it tends to be portrayed as a collective image instead of an individual one, like in the man, because like the anima, because the anima and the animus is strongly connected to the primary masculine or feminine individual representative in the person's life. So in a man, usually the prime sort of like imprinter or creator, like influencer of the anima is the mother, because she is the primary caretaker. And in a woman, the prime imprinter of the animus is usually the father or any other masculine representatives in her life. Now, the thing is, a man is usually very close to the anima, or let's say the image of it, because the mother is the caretaker, and she is directly nurturing the man, the kid. But in a woman, the father is distant, because in a woman, the daughter, the primary caretaker, is still the mother, which is feminine, but not the animus. The animus is masculine, and usually influenced by the father, who is distant, and hence the animus is perceived by women often as a distant, overarching, authoritative power. So a healthy animus is developed by diving into the unconscious of a woman's mind and asking questions how the world works. So she should try and develop her individual own ideas and personality, let's say. She shouldn't let her fate fall into the hands of a masculine man. And this is what happens in the myth of Bluebeard, which I can recommend looking at, where this strong masculine man marries this woman, and this woman finds out that he had killed her he had killed his previous wives and was probably intending to do the same with her, but her curiosity and her asking questions enabled her to figure out what had happened and notice that Bluebeard was homicidal, let's say, and was able to escape then. But that was only because she was curious and she asked questions and she dived into the darkness of her mind, let's say. And if because it is the animus is connected with the intellectual sort of controlling power, if a man is very intellectual and sort of strong, let's say, the woman can easily project her animus onto him and sort of deem him as then like the authoritative figure in her life, instead of it sort of becoming it from within herself, and herself developing her own intellectual ideas. And very important to notice always, as with every archetype, there is a positive and a negative pole to the archetype. So the animus has a positive and negative aspect. The negative animus is can sort of be described as this. If a woman is talking to a man who is intellectual, and the man is talking about all these ideas and how things work in the world, the negative animus in her might sort of whisper in her brain that this man is oppressive, he's just trying to control you, that's what all men are like, he's just an authoritarian figure again. And she tries to the negative animus tries to, let's say, destroy the man, sort of like that. And when a woman is possessed then by her negative animus, she will try to argue with the man for the sake of arguing. So she will, if the man is trying to sort of formulate logical argumentation, she will respond with just arguing against it, even if it's illogical and doesn't make sense what she's saying. She'll just continue arguing and arguing for the sake of arguing. And there is no way you can constructively conclude an argument with a woman who is possessed by her animus. Hence, it would sort of probably be best to remain silent and pull yourself back from the argument. And the aim of the animus is, if it possesses the woman, is to not to win, but actually just to argue. And it aims to argue, and if you engage in the argument, then the animus wins, let's say. And the anima, just to describe the concept of the archetype a bit more, the anima entails traits that are classically considered feminine, and the animus entails traits that are classically considered masculine. And for a man, he will be able to develop, let's say, feminine traits, let's say compassion, if he can integrate those characteristics into his personality and draw them out from the shadow archetype, which he threw them into originally. Because as a man, in society, maybe one was not encouraged to be compassionate. One thought, okay, I'm a man, therefore being compassionate is bad. And then one throws the trait of compassion into the shadow because it is a trait that is unaccepted, not accepted in society, and one needs to draw that back out again and integrate it into one's personality. Just as much for women, the trait of, let's say, aggression and assertiveness would be deemed as inadequate or wrongly placed in a woman, and therefore they throw it into their shadow, and they would need to draw that back out and integrate it into themselves if they want to be somebody who is whole and developed. And I would say, if they want to be a person who is able to successfully maneuver through a lot of different difficult situations in life and not crumble under them, because that's what it does. The more integrated you are, the more sophisticated, the more eloquent, the more resilient, I think, you become as a person. Yeah. And I think what one can observe nowadays is like a relatively frequent animus possession going on, in that a lot of women try to compete with men in the realm of intellectual and endeavors, and also work, so in the workforce, and they try to become like a pseudo man. And if a woman is possessed by the negative pole of her animus, like I said, she will try to argue against men for the sake of arguing. And I think one can observe this a lot from sort of hell-bent feminists, let's say, who aren't actually trying to constructively figure out what is best for society and for women in this case. They are just actually trying to prove a point and argue. That's really it. And if a woman is possessed by the negative animus in this case, she is quite actually unattractive to men, because she is like a pseudo-man. She is trying to compete against them, and she is not really feminine. And so a man will not really consider her as a potential partner. However, if a man is very feminine, if a woman is very feminine, then I think she's very powerful, because men will chase her. Like if a woman is feminine and strong in like the healthy feminine way, that is very attractive to men, because you resemble a healthy mother, or like the potential to be a healthy, successful mother, let's say. And there's also a famous quote that says, behind every great man is a great woman. And if you look at history, I think that is well observable. If you look at people like Barack Obama or Napoleon Bonaparte, there's a lot of, there are, strong women behind them. So it is, the thing is, if a woman has not developed her animus, so she hasn't really formulated her own ideas, she hasn't really dived into her unconscious, she is sort of like she is sort of immature, like a little girl, and that is attractive to some men, because then that man can dominate her and sort of tell her what to do, and she just sort of lets herself get maneuvered around, you know, and isn't really a developed person, let's say. And that is so attractive to some men, but I would say then to an unhealthy man who just wants to not oppress her, but be in charge and dominate, yeah. And I think also strong men with a developed whole personality, a well-adapted psyche, tend not to settle for weak women. And with weak women, I mean immature women who have not confronted the depths of their psyche and are simply like a puppet of their husband. Yeah. I think one could, if one's a bit cheeky, one could say that sort of soccer mums would fall into this category of, you know, they, like, the man, you know, does his things, like brings in the money, and then the woman just sort of chauffeurs the kids around and doesn't really have her own endeavors underway in life. She just sort of she's in the shadow, she stands behind the man, like in his shadow, not his shadow archetype, but, you know, under his control, you know, and is just his puppet. Yeah. So in conclusion, the animus is the masculine subset of a woman's psyche, and it entails like the authoritarian, intellectual, controlling side or relationship within a woman. And if she wants to develop the animus healthily, she should create her own ideas, her own intellectual endeavors, and not be a puppet to other ideas, like, well, ideas that are fed to her. And she should come to grips with the authoritarian power within her and take it under her own control, instead of projecting it onto another man who then controls her. Like, yes. And if a woman is possessed by her animus, she is very often unattractive because she is sort of trying to be a man, and yeah. But if she has developed her animus, she is more feminine. She's not more feminine, but she is more of a whole person, and she has integrated the masculine side within her. Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to learn more about self-development, dating, and how to reduce suffering in life. Thank you for listening.